Can SoFi stock actually reach $80 a share? Right now, today, we're somewhere in the $8 range per share. So that'd be an effective 10x from where we are today. So can it really happen? And if it can, how long will it take? And what are going to be the main drivers to get SoFi to a place where they're in the $80 per share range? Which, like I said, is about a 10x from where we are today. We're going to get into all of that in this video, but first, if you're new here, I'm Austin. Thank you for being here. I'm a co-owner of cloudbusinesssuite.com. I'm a stock market investor, and most importantly for this video, I'm a SoFi shareholder. I've been a SoFi shareholder since the time they went public through their SPAC merger. So I've seen the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, and I've seen tons and tons of earning reports in which SoFi reports record revenue, record EBITDA, record EPS, etc., and so forth. It's been such a great growth story to follow over the time that I've been a shareholder, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. Real quick, the channel's somewhere in the 1,700 subscriber range. I don't know where it'll be when we post this video. If you're one of those people and you're back, thank you so much for being back. If you're not one of those people, go ahead and click that subscribe button, drop a like for me, and as a thank you for doing those two things, here's a picture of both my cats, Millie and Luna. Millie's the gray one, Luna's the brown one. They thank you for subscribing. All right, let's get into this. So before we get started, a 10x stock is no joke. This is not something you see on an everyday basis. And to even be talking about SoFi as a 10x stock is already a very large statement. So I just want to get that really clear. There are stocks that have been public for 20, 25, 30 plus years that haven't 10x'd in that amount of time. So I don't think we should take this lightly, and I don't think we should throw out that every stock that we love is going to be a 10x stock. That's just false. Not every stock in the stock market is a winner, and definitely not every stock in the stock market is a huge winner like a 10x situation. But the question of this video is, can SoFi do that 10x and get to the $80 a share or higher range? And if so, how long is it going to take, and what are the main drivers going to be? So I just want to talk us through some numbers. So right now, SoFi is already at an $8 billion market cap. That's the same market cap as Ally Bank. And Ally Bank has about 4x the revenue and has so many more assets under management. Ally Bank's total deposits are in excess of $145 billion. So that's more than a 10x in total deposits on the bank side when we compare Ally Bank to SoFi Bank. And like I said, they already have the same market cap right now. Ally Bank is already profitable. SoFi has still yet to turn a profit. And Ally Bank pays a very respectable dividend around a 4% yield, while SoFi does not pay a dividend. So Ally Bank's got a lot of things going for it, and Ally stock has a lot of things going for it that SoFi does not. But here's the main difference, and this is going to be number one, the primary driver to move SoFi to that 10x range, somewhere around an $80 billion market cap. That is a long way from here, and they have a long way to go as it relates to their company fundamentals. But let me show you this. Quarterly revenue growth on a year-over-year basis for Ally Bank is actually negative. Their revenues are decreasing. They had a negative 7% quarterly revenue growth, which means revenues are going down on a year-over-year basis. And that's compared to SoFi, which had a 37+% increase in quarterly revenue growth on a year-over-year basis. And they've been holding that 30 to 40% range as it relates to revenue growth really strong. And they actually beat my estimates in Q2 of 2023 with that 37.7% number. So that's the main reason that SoFi is commanding the same market cap right now as Ally Bank, even though they have more than 10x the deposits as a bank, and they have over 4x the revenue, and they're already EPS positive, and they're paying a dividend. But SoFi's growth is absolutely insane on the revenue side. So if we can hold this 30 to 40% revenue growth number throughout this decade, all the way until 2030, SoFi is going to be in an absolutely amazing spot, and it's going to continue to command that premium valuation to the banking sector. On a price to book basis, they're still very respectably valued at a 1.56. That's a little bit higher than the banking sector, but it's not disgusting. It's not like an 8x higher like the revenue growth that they have. So I still think there's more room to run in the short term right now. They've got $1.8 billion in revenue on a trailing 12-month basis. My projections, based on the fact that I do believe they're going to be somewhere in the 30 to 40% range on a year-over-year basis as it relates to revenue, is that they'll be doing that $1.8 billion million that they've got right now within a full year, they'll be doing that within 1 quarter, somewhere between 5 and 6 years from now. They might even hit that sooner if they have a re-acceleration of growth past that 40% mark. And I'll talk about how that might happen a little bit later in the video. So I see the revenue growth staying extremely strong. And generally, as those revenues grow, more and more of that hits the bottom line and the stock price gets respected in the long term and the stock price continues to move up. Stack on top of that the fact that the revenue growth is so insane, meaning this company is going to continue to command that premium valuation over the rest of the banking sector. Over the medium term, somewhere around 1 to 3 years, the next leg up for this stock price, obviously we already talked about revenue growth, but the next huge leg up for the stock price is going to be this company getting to EPS positive. EPS is earnings per share. So we need to have net income hitting the bottom line, no more net losses, but net income on a quarterly basis and insane net income growth on a quarterly basis. We all love revenue growth, but let's not forget that stocks follow earnings in the long term. SoFi stock has not had any substantial earnings. They've only had losses since they went public. So we shouldn't be surprised the stock has dropped from $18 a share all the way down to $8 a share. And not to mention it was way lower than that just a few months ago, somewhere around the $4 to $5 range. So yes, it's already commanding a premium valuation, but once they get to EPS positive and we have net income growing faster than revenue, the stock price will start to move up massively. That's why I wanted to see somewhere around -4 cents, -3 cents, -2 cents in Q2 of 2023, but they actually reported a -6 cents EPS in Q2 2023. I was frustrated about that. A lot of investors did not share my frustration. They were just happy to see that 37% growth. But when we're talking about total return, we need EPS. We need net income hitting the bottom line. And if we want SoFi to stay in an extremely well-capitalized position, they need to start having net income and income from operations so that they can fund growth from their operations, not from debt and not from share issuances, because that does not help shareholder return. And the last thing, and probably the biggest thing over the long term that I see moving SoFi up to that $80 a share range is actually the technology platform. I've been very underwhelmed with the technology platform numbers. If we relate total connected accounts on the technology side of the business, we've actually dropped over a 6-month span comparing to the end of 2022. And contributable profit from the technology segment has actually dropped 21% on a year-over-year basis. Those are two of the things I was frustrated with in the Q2 2023 earnings report. If this company is going to become the AWS of Fintech, the Amazon Web Services of the Fintech space, like they've said so many times in the past, then they're going to have to put up those AWS-like income numbers. If you're a shareholder of Amazon, or if you've ever looked at an Amazon earnings report in depth, you would see that over 70% of Amazon's total profit of the entire corporation is just the AWS segment. And on the same token, AWS revenue is the lowest of all three of the segments. We have the North American segment, we have the international segment, and then we have the AWS segment. The AWS segment is by far and away the lowest in terms of total revenue brought into the company, but it's over 70% of the profit. SoFi's technology platform is nowhere close to 70% of the profit. Their lending and their origination is around 70% of the profit. The banking side and the financial services side is actually really small as it relates to total contributable profit right now, and the technology platform is very small as it relates to total contributable profit. I have no worries about the financial services growth. I have no worries about the lending growth. I do have worries about the technology platform because I know that's going to be one of the massive growth vectors to move SoFi from where they are right now to that potential 10x range. SoFi has said they switched from going after just pretty much anybody in the technology side to going after larger, more durable clients. And they said that that goal and that process has been successful so far, and they've made a lot of progress in procuring those larger and more durable customers. I like that a lot. I love to hear that. But I'm going to be looking extremely closely at the total revenue brought in by the technology platform, and even more importantly than that, contributable profit brought in by the technology platform. We need to see that contributable profit rising very fast and extremely insane for the technology side of the platform to be that AWS of SoFi and bring them an insane amount of profit. Like I said, right now they're not bringing an insane amount of profit in. It's not a large percentage of the profit number. And just flat out the technology platform side of the business is just not that profitable. The commentary from SoFi whenever they acquired Technisys was that somewhere in the back half of 2023, they'd really start to see the benefits of acquiring the Technisys platform and integrating it with Galileo, kind of packaging it all together to be the back end of banking. So as long as we can see that in Q3, Q4 of 2023, and then Q1, Q2, etc., as we go through 2024, I'll remain extremely bullish on the technology platform side of the business. I am super bullish on the financial services side. I'm very bullish on the lending side, and I'm very bullish on SoFi in general, but the technology platform numbers have been pretty concerning. And I know that's going to be one of the main ways they get to that 10x potential up to $80 a share. I'm looking forward to seeing those EPS numbers with SoFi over the next few quarters. I think we're going to flip from GAAP losses to GAAP profits. That's going to be the next leg up for SoFi stock, because once we start hitting those EPS positive quarters, quarter in, quarter out, quarter in, quarter out, now the conversation turns from, okay, this company is going to be a money loser forever, to look at this company growing net income faster than they're growing revenue. Now they're going to command even more of a premium in relation to the banking sector. And after they hit 4 quarters in a row of EPS positive, and those EPS numbers are growing and growing and growing, now the conversation is, okay, what about index inclusion? What about S&P 500 inclusion? Depending on where the market cap is, what about S&P 400 mid cap inclusion? Based on the fact that they're already around $8 billion market cap, and I don't see that dropping as they get to EPS positive, the conversation will probably be around S&P 500 inclusion. I would say that's at least 2 years out for SoFi, so I'm not like betting the world that SoFi gets that S&P 500 inclusion anytime soon. Probably minimum 2 years, maybe even more than that, for this to even be a conversation with SoFi. But I do see it happening over the next few years. So let me be clear, I do see SoFi getting to $80 a share. I don't know when it's going to happen. I would like for it to happen over this decade, but they're going to have to continue executing at that 30+% revenue growth and see the technology side of the business go absolutely insane and get to EPS positive, with EPS continually growing faster than those revenue rates. If they can do those 3 things over this decade, I see index inclusion happening, I see massive amounts of institutional money flooding into SoFi, and I do see the potential for a 10x with SoFi over the next decade. I feel like lately there's been a little bit too much excuse making from the SoFi community as it relates to the things that aren't great with the business. In my opinion, as an investor, we need to take the emotions away and call a spade a spade. If something in the earnings report is bad, we need to talk about how that thing in the earnings report is bad, and we need to see progress as it relates to that in the next quarter and the next quarter. So let's make sure we're looking at these quarterly numbers objectively and not just being high on the hopium of continued growth just by looking at their headline numbers. Dive into the earnings report, make sure you fully understand the entirety of all the numbers on all the sides of the business to make sure that you're making an informed investment decision. All of that said, I am not a buyer of SoFi right now. I actually finished building out my SoFi position somewhere around 2 months ago, and I'm just a holder from here on out. There may be a time where I end up picking up more shares. Today is not that day. Next week is not that week. If the stock drops in a substantial way and we continue to see the fundamentals of the company get better and better and better, I'm probably going to have to step in again. But for now, I'm a holder. I'm happy with the amount of shares I have. I have built out my position for my current allocation. I want to know your thoughts. What's the way that SoFi is going to get to $80 a share? Do you think it can ever get there? If you think so, when will it get there, and what are going to be the main growth drivers? I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts if you think it's never going to. I want to hear your thoughts if you think it's going to get there. You got to have the bears and the bulls talk about SoFi in order to balance out the commentary around the stock. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you're still buying SoFi. Are you holding? Are you selling? Are you shorting, etc.? I want to hear what your situation is with SoFi stock. I appreciate you being here so much. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Thank you for being here, and have a great day.